You don't remember the exact moment your life changed. Not because it wasn't important, but because it didn't feel like a choice. It felt natural. Like everything you had done before, every mistake, every failure, was slowly guiding you to that point. You weren't looking for a new Lee. F.E. You were just trying to survive the one you had. But survival has a way of introducing you to the wrong people. It started with a conversation. A normal day. A normal place. Nothing special. And yet, he stood out. Not because he was loud. Not because he was threatening. But because he was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that makes you feel like he already knows how everything ends. He sat across from you like he had been waiting. Not for someone, but for you. He said your name. Not the one people use in public, but the one connected to your problems, your debts, your mistakes, your desperation. He knew everything. And somehow, that didn't scare you as much as it should have. Because for the first time, someone saw you clearly. You're tired, he said. Not as a question, as a fact. And you didn't answer. Because you didn't need to. Then he leaned forward slightly, and said the words that would follow you for the rest of your life. We can help you. It didn't sound like a trap. It sounded like relief. Like finally putting down a weight you had been carrying for too long. And that's how it begins. Not with fear, but with hope. You didn't say yes immediately, but you didn't say no either. And in that world, silence is agreement. The first thing that changed was not your environment. It was your time. Your phone buzz. Zed one night. A message. No name. No greeting. Just one word. Come. You stared at it longer than you should have. Because deep down, you knew this wasn't a request. It was a test. And without fully understanding why, you went. The place was quiet. Too quiet. No music. No laughter. No life. Just people, sitting, watching, observing, measuring. No one welcomed you. No one explained anything. Because explanations are for outsiders. And you were no longer one. They looked at you the way a craftsman looks at raw material. Not interested in who you were, only in what you could become. That night, you didn't become one of them. You simply stopped being yourself. Days passed. Or maybe weeks. It's hard to tell. Because time feels different when your life no longer belongs to you. Then came the mark. At first, it was just ink. A design. A dragon, curling across your skin. They told you it meant strength. Resilience. Power. But they didn't tell you what it really meant. Ownership. You watched it grow slowly. Line by line. Session by session. Spreading across your body like a shadow you couldn't escape. And somewhere along the way, it stopped feeling like decoration, and started feeling like a chain. Then came the sword. A katana. Clean. Precise. Silent. They placed it in your hands without ceremony. Because ceremony implies honor. And this was obligation. It felt heavier than it should have. Not because of its weight, but because of what it represented. Responsibility. Consec. Uence. Finality. Your first task is simple, they said. Deliver a message. And you believed them. Because you wanted to. The walk there felt longer than it was. Every step heavier than the last. Your mind searching for reasons. For excuses. For a way out. But there was no way out. There was only forward. When you arrived, the man was already waiting. Of course he was. People like him always are. He looked at you once. And in that single glance, he understood everything. You were new. Your grip tightened around the sword. Your heart started to race. Your thoughts, louder than ever. This wasn't what you thought it would be. This wasn't a message. This was a decision. For a moment, just a moment, you hesitated. And in that hesitation, you felt something you hadn't felt in a long time. Yourself. Your past. Your values. Your fear. Your humanity. It all came rushing back at once, begging you to stop. But then, just as quickly, it disappeared. Because in that world, hesitation is weakness. And weakness does not survive. So you made your choice. And the moment you did, everything went quiet. Not around you. Inside you. No guilt. No fear. No doubt. Just silence. When you returned, no one congratulated you. No one asked questions. Because they didn't need to. They could see it. In your posture. In your eyes. In the way you carried yourself. You understood now. And from that point on, everything became easier. Not because the tasks were simpler, but because you were different. Days turned into routines. Orders turned into habits. Habits turned into identity. You stopped calling people. Stopped replying. Stopped remembering birthdays, voices, names. You stopped remembering who you used to be. And the tattoo kept growing. Across your back. Your chest. Your neck. Until one day, there was no skin left untouched. No part of you that still belonged to you. And that's when it finally hit you. You weren't part of something. You were consumed by it. One night, much later, you stood alone again. Just like in the beginning. Same silence. Same darkness. And for the first time in a long time, you thought about leaving. About walking away. Starting over. being free. But then you laughed. Quietly. To yourself. Because you finally understood the truth. You didn't choose this life. Because by the time you realized what it was, you were already too deep. There is no exit. No goodbye. No second chance. Only one direction. Forward. And forward only gets darker. You look down at your hands. At the ink. At the blade. And you realize something that should have been obvious from the start. You were never becoming someone new. You were slowly disappearing. Replaced. Piece by piece. By something else. Something colder. Something quieter. Something that doesn't hesitate. And now, standing there in the dark, you no longer wonder who you are. Because the answer is simple. You are not the person who joined. You are what remains. And in this life, that's all you'll ever be.